Welcome back to another episode of Word Safari. In this particular episode, we're going to look at a family of loanwords that we get into English from a particular Latin term, and that Latin term is the root grad. We see it most often with roots that come from the Latin verb gradior. What did that word gradior mean? The primary fundamental meaning of the Latin verb gradior was to step, but of course, when you're taking a step, you're also walking, maybe moving, just going in general. Oftentimes, of course, as you can see on the picture, steps lead to some kind of inclination of some kind. In other words, you go up, you go down via a step. And so we're going to see that there are a lot of meanings that have something to do with some kind of slope, going up, going down. The noun form, as you can see there at the bottom, was gradus, which can mean a step or a slope or something like that. The past participle of this verb in Latin looks a little bit different. It was gressus there. And so that's how you would say, like, having stepped. That's what a past participle essentially is. We're going to see that some of the forms that we have in English from this Latin word have grad in them, and some of them have gress in them, but they both come from this particular Latin verb that means to step, to move, to go down, to go up, that kind of thing, okay? So that's the family of words that we are going to be looking at. So let's dive in. Let's look at some of the basic words that we get in English from this particular Latin verb. We're going to start simple, and that would be the word grade. Obviously, there's no prefixes, suffixes, anything complicated going on with this English word. It just comes directly from that noun gradus in Latin, which, as we said, can mean a step or a slope or something like that. And of course, one of the basic meanings of our word grade in English is some kind of slope. We use this in kind of a technical term, like there's a 10% grade on this road, okay? So that's obviously a geometric figure, but we use it in sort of a technical term, but I'm guessing that you are probably more familiar with the usage of the word grade in English in another context, and that is school. When you take an exam or you do a project or something, your teacher is going to give you a grade. We use this very often, of course, in English. The verb to grade something literally means to arrange the various items, whatever's being graded, from highest to lowest. So when you grade, or like me, when you're a professor who grades things, you put them from highest to lowest. You give them some kind of number value, and then they are on a slope. And that is, of course, the fundamental meaning of this root that we are talking about. If you say you have a particular grade in the class, what you are literally saying is that you have a particular place on the slope from highest to lowest that you occupy relative to the other students in the class who also have a place on that slope that they would call their grade. So all of these things come from this Latin word. What are some other things? Again, some relatively uncomplicated terms in English that we get from this Latin verb. Well, how about the adjective gradual? Of course, the adjective gradual also just comes from this Latin term gradior. What does it mean if something is gradual? Of course, it means that it is characterized by a slow change. Gradual is the opposite of sudden or steep, right? So if something's steep, it's not gradual. If something's gradual, it's not steep. And so since this root means to maybe take things step by step or go on a nice easy slope, that's what the word gradual means, right? You're just taking things step by step. You're not going to dive all the way in. What about graduate? Going back to a scholastic or university context, what does it mean to graduate? Literally, it just means to move up a step. Okay, so when you graduate, you are completing one step of the academic process, and then you are maybe moving up to the next step if you choose to do so. And that's literally what it means to graduate. Of course, today in English, a lot of times we just shorten this word to grad, like congrats to all the grads out there, which is interesting because, of course, that's actually just the Latin root that I have there at the top, grad, right? And so when we shorten it to grad, we're actually sort of going back to the literal roots of this particular term that goes all the way back to that term gradior in Latin. Okay, what's another term that we get from this? Again, we're starting pretty simple here without any prefixes. What about the word gradient? A gradient is something sloping, okay? So that's literally what that means. That ent ending, and you can see this on the bottom here, that ent ending is the Latin present active participle ending. And so that's why I'm translating it with an ing word in English, because our present active participles in English end in ing, sloping. To slope, you are sloping. That is a participle, which is the equivalent of that ent ending in Latin onto the verb gradior. So a gradient is literally just a sloping thing, a stepping thing, a thing that moves up or down slowly. Let's put a prefix onto this root for the first time. We haven't seen any prefixes yet, but let's do it here on the bottom. What if we put the Latin prefix in onto that gradient? You're going to change the vowel a little bit in Latin from grad to grade there in the middle. You don't have to worry about that. That's just something that's going on in Latin, and we're just getting it directly from Latin that way. Still the grad root, all right? So an ingredient, you can just put those pieces together. In Latin is in or into. Grad is to slope or just to step or to move in general. And that ent ending is the ing ending in Latin. So what is an ingredient literally? It's something that is going into something else. That's actually all the word ingredient means. It sounds fancy when we use the word ingredient. A lot of times when we use Latin or Greek roots, it makes things that are not very fancy sound more fancy. And so, your recipe for cooking might have a list of ingredients, which sounds a little bit more fancy than a list of things that go in, right? And so we use this word ingredient that comes directly from Latin, but literally just means something going into something else, perhaps to make a dish when you are cooking. Okay, let's put some other prefixes onto this grade root, all right, and see what we get. Obviously, if you upgrade something, you are moving higher in quality, all right? If you upgrade your hotel room, then you yourself are moving higher in quality to a better room, right? That maybe costs more money. What about retrograde? We hear this term oftentimes in astrology, like, Mercury's in retrograde or something like that. But what does it mean to be in retrograde? Well, that Latin term retro just means back. We use this term all the time. If you're retro, then you might like something back in time, all right? But that just comes from this Latin word retro that meant back. And then you have grade. So retrograde means backwards motion. Something is moving backwards. And that's literally what it means for something to be retrograde. What about this? This is an interesting one. Centigrade. Of course, the most common way of telling temperature in the world is C, which often stands for Celsius, but can also stand for centigrade. What does centigrade literally mean? You know what the grade means, but the centa part comes from the Latin number centum, which just means 100 in Latin. We get a lot of things like century, of course, from this particular number, and we have talked about numbers already on this channel a long time ago. So Latin has this term centum, just means 100. What does it mean to be centigrade? Well, in the context of telling temperature, it's a system of measuring the temperature that is characterized by 100 steps, which is why it's centigrade, 100 steps between two particular points. If you know about the Celsius or centigrade system, the 100 steps are between the freezing point and the boiling point, right? So there's 100 degrees between those two steps, which is why it was named centigrade, because there are exactly 100 steps between these two important points on the spectrum, all right? Let's put some other prefixes on. How about to degrade? What happens if you degrade something? D is just another one of these Latin prefixes that we have talked about before on this channel. It comes from the Latin prefix or preposition de, which means down. And so if you degrade, then you are moving something lower in quality. If you are degraded, you are moved lower in quality, something like that, all right? And so that's the literal meaning of this word to degrade. When you insult somebody, you degrade them, maybe you move them lower in quality socially, or at least you're trying to. If you are insulting, hopefully you're not doing any degrading in your life right now, but that is what the word means, right? Now, what happens when this word moves into French? We've seen this often on this channel, that when Latin evolved into French, a lot of times whole syllables got eroded out of words. And so that's actually what happened here. This word de gradus, which would have been the noun, moves into French, and then that last D in between the two vowels totally goes away, and a whole syllable gets lost from the middle of this word. And you might be able to guess where we're going here. That's right, the word degree. Degree is just an eroded form of the word degrade because it has gone through French. Now, the phonology of the word has eroded. The semantics of the word has also changed a little bit, because in French, this word has shed some of its negative connotations. So to degrade something is negative, or a degradation is negative, but a degree is not negative. If we say there's a degree of something, it's more semantically neutral. It's not necessarily obviously good or bad. It's just you have you just have some kind of step, right? And it may or may not be good or bad. So the French degré is just a step. That's all it is, even though it literally means to step down. That down quality has kind of left the semantics of the French word. And so when we borrowed the French word degree into English, we borrowed it without those negative connotations that were originally there in this word in Latin. So when we say a degree, it's literally just a step or a position. When we go back to what we were talking about on the last slide with centigrade, there are 100 degrees between the freezing point and the boiling point, right? And so you get these degrees, you get these steps, you get these positions. Not necessarily a bad or a good thing. Of course, we use this word degree all the time, right? Like you say, there is a degree of Latin that we have in our English language, which is a true statement. And what I mean by that, or what anyone would mean by that when they say that, is there's a certain position, there's a certain amount of Latin that we have, right? And so we use this word degree, of course, all over the place today in our English language. Now, let's round out this episode by going and looking at some of the words that actually have gress in them. So they are going to come from that past participle form in Latin with gress and not the form with grad. But again, this is still all coming from the same grad root in Latin. So we can put a number of different prefixes, which are, of course, originally Latin prepositions, onto this term, and we are going to see that we get different nouns and verbs from this collocation of forms, where you get a particular prefix, preverb, and then you get this gress form. Okay, so in English we have a noun and a verb, to progress and progress, right? Obviously these both come from the same thing, and this is from the Latin preverb or preposition pro, which means forward, plus this gress, which means to step. And so what do you do when you progress? You literally move forward, okay? And again, that's already a noun and a verb, depending on where you put the stress on the word in English. But of course, you could make a lot of different forms in English from this, like a progression, or maybe progressive, or these are all terms, of course, that have something to do with moving forward. What's the opposite of progression? It's regression, of course. Okay, so to regress is the opposite of to progress. And this, of course, comes from another Latin form. You put another preverb there onto the Latin form gress, and that is the Latin form re, which means back. And so to regress literally just means to move backwards, to step backwards, to go backwards. That's literally what this means. And again, we have other forms. You can be regressive. You can run a regression on something. And so there's different suffixes that you can put on this. Of course, in English, I'm just sort of giving you the basic one, but you probably understand that all these different forms are going to ultimately come from this Latin root, okay? Here's a term that we don't use that often, but it comes up every once in a while, and it's one of these words that, you know, it's good to know. If you know your Latin, you're gonna be able to know what this sort of maybe uncommon, somewhat fancy word means. Egress has the gress on the end, and it has the E on the front. The E comes from the Latin ex, which means out of. Okay, so to egress literally means to step out, which of course means to leave, which means to exit. And of course, as a noun, it is just an exit, okay? Interestingly, our word exit comes from this X plus a different Latin root, that I at the end, which is actually just the Latin word for to go, literally to go. So an exit is a going out, it's a way out, and an egress is also a going out, but more like a stepping out, but it adds up to the same thing, all right? Again, we don't use this word that often, but it's good to know, and it comes from this gress root. Here's a word in English that we do use a little bit more often with a different prefix. That is to digress. Sometimes you'll hear somebody saying they'll talk on for a while, and then they'll kind of get lost in some train of thought, and then they'll try to come back to the point that they were trying to make. And the usual thing that someone will say when they do that is, "But I digress," which means, sorry, I'm moving away from what I was actually trying to say, and I'm going to try to get back to it now. That's because digress, or digress, comes from this Latin prefix di or dis, which means away from, plus this gress that we've been talking about. So when you digress, you are moving away from the main topic of whatever it is you are trying to say. Of course, the noun is a digression. If you go on a digression, then you are moving away from the main point of whatever it is that you were trying to say. Let's put a couple of other prefixes on this. Here's a famous one, certainly in politics, political context. That is congress. Congress comes from the Latin con, which means with or together, plus this gress. And so even though we use Congress in a very specific political sense, certainly in the United States today, the original meaning of Congress was very general, almost vague. It literally just means a coming together. So the gress is the step, or to go or to come, and the con is together. And so a Congress is just a bunch bunch of people who have come together. It's like an assembly. I mean, that's literally what the word Congress literally means. Again, we use it in a very particular and specialized way in certainly American politics today, but the Latin roots are not very specific at all. It just means some kind of assembly, some kind of coming together for a particular purpose, all right? What about transgress? Trans, of course, is another Latin prefix that means across. So if you are transgressing something, or if you are transgressive, or if you are engaged in transgressions, what does all that mean? It means you are stepping across a boundary. There's some kind of line. Society perhaps has set up some kind of line, or it could be a law, it could be a religious rule, it could be something, any of those things, and you step across it, which means you break it. Okay, of course, you can literally transgress if you step onto private property. Usually the word we use for that is trespassing. The tres is the French form of trans, and pass is, of course, to just pass. So that means to pass across when you trespass, which is a rough translation of transgress. But of course, in English, as you probably know, we usually use transgress more for metaphorical lines that we step across when we break the law or break some kind of rule or something like that. We might call that a transgression, or you might call yourself transgressive if you are actively engaged in trying to, break certain societal laws or move society in a different direction away from certain rules or laws or regulations. But all that comes from this form as well. Let's end on one particular form that we have looked at a long time ago, on a safari a long time ago, and we looked at it when we were talking about assimilatory forms, because this has some assimilation that goes on in this particular word. What about the word aggressive? The word aggressive comes from the Latin ad. Ad is another one of these prefixes that occurred in Latin and that we have a lot of in English today. Ad means to or toward. And then, of course, you put that on the front of gress, and what happens is that D assimilates to the G at the start of gress. And so instead of aggressive, you say aggressive. Now, in Latin, they actually said two G's there. They say aggressus when they said that word, because that D was still there. It was just a G. And so you had to say two G's, one for the D, one for the actual G of aggressive, which is why they wrote two G's, by the way, in Latin. They didn't write two letters randomly in Latin, unlike we do today in English. So when we have borrowed this word, we don't say aggressive, we say aggressive with one G instead of two. And so we write two because that's the etymology of the term going back 2,000 years plus. But we, of course, don't say it that way anymore. But we still write it that way. So the writing is certainly more conservative, which is a characteristic of many languages. So that's what's going on with the two G's in aggressive. The first one is actually a D in disguise, coming from that Latin form odd. The iv ending in English comes from this Latin suffix ius, which means characterized by. So it's a way you could make adjectives. So you kind of put all these together, odd plus gress plus ius in Latin. What do you get? Literally, if you or someone you know, or some tiger you know, or whatever is aggressive, then you are characterized by, that's the ius part, motion, that's the gress part, toward, that's the odd part. So you kind of put all these things together, all right? Now, of course, characterized by motion toward could just mean anything, like if you're walking towards someone to greet them or say hello. Technically, that's aggressive based on the semantics, but of course, if you speak English, you know quite well that that's not what we mean when we use the word aggressive today. It's usually unfriendly or hostile movement towards somebody, and usually that somebody that is being moved toward is an intended victim, all right? You're going to an aggressive person who's moving towards somebody means to do something harmful to them, or if it's a predatory animal, eat them, attack them, whatever, right? And of course, this goes for other forms like aggression, all right? And so all of these things come from this Latin form aggressive, which again, I think is really cool to be able to break these things down, because once you can break them down, you can see the individual pieces, and you're going to know exactly what that word means if you know those individual pieces in Latin. Okay, so that's it. That's a whole family of words that we get from really just this one Latin word. But as you can see, it's certainly made a significant impact on the English language as we have brought in all of these words from Latin. Hopefully, understanding these words will help you take a step up, as it were, in your understanding of English vocabulary. All right, that's it for now. We'll see you next time.